All right. Just had a buddy of ours, Sports Talk Denver, actually. We have a few channels where we have different creators making content for different teams. Not sure if you knew that. Well, also, me and Chris do another channel, Sports Talk Extra, that we love talking about just everything NFL. So if you're a huge Lions fans, but also love the NFL like us, and that's how we talk about it, and you want to just kind of get opinions on other NFL teams, feel free to follow us on there as well. But Brad Holmes, I mean, he did it again. And he is just proving, just proving once again how good he truly, truly is. And it got me wondering, how good has he been? And I know we've done this, but what better way, just a couple days out from training camp kicking off, to look at all the young talent that we have on this roster. And the most valuable 2024 NFL draft class just came out. And I first want to show you this graphic. So if you look at this, there's a rank, and you can see who's on the top, depending on what you're watching this on. If you're watching it on a TV, for sure. Otherwise, you might need my help, but it's the Lions. Okay, the Lions are number one on their NFL most valuable 2024 NFL draft class. Right here, this chart is basically everything above average value and below average value. So this is based on draft capital over expectation, expected capital to be used on a player versus what was actually used. In other words, who got their best value. Now, we don't know what this is going to look like yet, and that's why later in this video, I'm going to go back to the 2021, 2022, 2023 draft, which were Brad Holmes' first three drafts, and see how he did after we get the full picture to give you even more hope about this. Because none of those drafts had on paper beforehand the look that this one did. So the Lions are number one, and quite honestly, with the Dolphins, and it's not that close after that. Above average. Everybody talked on draft day about how the Eagles were able to just sit there. They just sat there, and two great corners fell in their laps. And here's what I love about this. If you look at this top 10, it's the teams that traditionally just draft well, right? Dolphins are the one maybe outlier, but Chiefs, absolutely, championship pedigree. Steelers, long-time trust organization that has done it well. Same with the Eagles. All right, the Saints, the Ravens, yes, even the Broncos usually draft pretty well, the Vikings, and the Rams. There is no doubt in my mind that this is one of those things where good GMs know how to find value, and that is what we are finding in our GM with Brad Holmes. So let's go back, and I found articles on this, and I had some fun with it because I could sit here and do it myself all day. But I would like to make sure other people are on the same, kind of belief that I'm on. So in 2021, CBS Sports did this thing where after the 2022 after the 21 season was over and they were able to look back on it, they gave teams the grade. All right. And they compared it to what they originally did. So originally they got a B+. The Lions are getting an A+ for their grades this year, but in 2021 they got a B+. Remember, this is the Penei Sewell. This is the Levi Onwuzurike, Aleem McNeil, St. Brown, Iffy, Derek Barnes, Rodrigo. These are all the guys that were drafted in this one. At first, they said a B+. After the season was over, A+. All right? This was a very solid draft class. And think about it. All these guys, Levi has had injury issues, and we still think there's a chance for him this year, by the way. Every one of these players is contributing. Every single one that were drafted in the first 5 or 6 rounds. That's insanity for a team to have that where 3 years in, every player, even starting their 4th year, is still competing. In this draft, Penei Sewell and Amon-Ra St. Brown just signed massive contract extensions. Why? Because it was a good enough draft to warrant it. That's how you know you had a good draft, when 3 years later you're paying the players that you drafted in it big, big money. All right, what about the next year? I was wrong. Rodrigo wasn't in that first draft. That's on me. All right, the next year, when you go back and you look at it after the season is over, the Detroit Lions ranked third in the draft. And I think a lot of people thought that they ranked third at the time as well. This is very, very interesting to look at. You have Rodrigo in this one. You have Hutchinson, Kirby Joseph in this one, and others. Don't get me wrong. There's others that are absolutely helping right now, but those are the people after year one that they wanted to do. The only teams that were better were the Seahawks and the Jets. All right? And, I don't firmly disagree, but yeah. 3 is a good spot. I'll take a top 5 draft class every single year. Who's with me? All right. And so now what we have is 2 years where Brad Holmes has proven that he did really, really well. By the way, I think there's only 2 or 3 teams that got an A+ rating after the 2021. So we were top 3 draft in 2021, even a year down the road. We were a top 3 draft in 2022, even a year down the road. What about last year's draft? All right. Personally, I think it was even better, but I couldn't find a CBS article on it, so Bleacher Report came out with one, and they said the Detroit Lions were number 4. Now, how does that make sense? Honestly, quite frankly, I don't know. And maybe it's because all the production came in the first 2 rounds. We didn't really get anything of meaning out of any of these guys down the line. They weren't special teams guys. Antoine Green did not play much. Colby Sorsdahl played in emergency situations. Maybe that's the reason. The teams that are ahead of us are the Packers. And first off, I disagree. I disagree wholeheartedly. But maybe it's because they got more from some of the lower level players like your Valentine, your Dontavian Wicks. But overall, the star power in this was not there. So I really don't understand it. The LA Rams, again, they did a lot with later round picks, and the Puka Nacua really helps them getting that out of a 5th rounder. I get that. And then you have the Texans. But again, the Texans, they hit on 3 players. We hit on 4. And our 4 players were 4 really, really good players. So basically, I think that we were I think we were the number 1 or number 2 class last year. They have us ranked 4th. But either way, the national media, local media, however you want to spin it, we all have an agreement that this is a very good football team. And so it's kind of interesting just to see what these drafts have shaped out to be. So when you look at this and you say, hey, wait till they get on the field. Cool. I agree. But Brad Holmes has proven that when they do get on the field, they do continue to do well. And you got to give your flowers to Dan Campbell for that as well. You've got to understand that Dan Campbell is making some stuff happen, and he is putting these players in positions to succeed. So I love it. What better to talk about going into the season than all the talent we've accrued over the last 3, now 4 drafts under Brad Holmes, and it is just exciting to see. Can't wait to see what these guys are doing in training camp and how they're looking. Thanks for watching. See ya.